December 7, 1941. Begins like any other Sunday morning in Hawaii. The air above Pearl Harbor is calm for only a moment. Then it fills with fire, smoke, and falling steel. Battleships burn in shallow water. Aircraft scream overhead. By the time the sun climbs higher, more than 2,000 American servicemen are dead or dying amid twisted metal and oil-slicked waves. Within hours, President Franklin D. Roosevelt will speak words that echo through history. Within days, the United States will be pulled fully into a global war. But while the nation's eyes are fixed on wrecked ships and shattered lives, another emergency quietly takes shape far from the harbor. It unfolds not under open skies, but behind closed doors, not on steel decks, but around conference tables in Washington. This crisis will never dominate front pages, yet its outcome will determine whether America's war machine survives long enough to fight at all. The challenge is deceptively simple. The solution, at least on paper, costs just $28. America is about to transform itself. Across the country, factories awaken around the clock. Aircraft plants in California hum day and night. Tank production lines roar in Michigan. Shipyards stretch along both coasts, while ammunition plants, rubber refineries, and steel mills pulse with activity deep inland. President Roosevelt will later describe this immense effort as the arsenal of democracy. It is an industrial revolution fueled by urgency and fear. But these facilities are vulnerable. They cannot be allowed to burn. They cannot be sabotaged. They cannot be disrupted by enemy operatives slipping through darkness with nothing more than wire cutters or a single lit match. The problem is not imagination. The threat is real. The question is protection. Who will guard these critical sites? America's soldiers are already leaving. Young men board trains and ships bound for places they have never seen, islands they cannot pronounce, deserts, jungles, frozen mountains thousands of miles away. The manpower that once patrolled factory gates is now marching overseas. Yet the factories must remain guarded. Rail yards require armed patrols. Power stations, refineries, and assembly plants demand constant vigilance. And vigilance requires weapons. In 1941, the U.S. government establishes the Defense Supplies Corporation. Its mission is straightforward but enormous. Equip tens of thousands of civilian guards responsible for protecting America's war production. These men need sidearms that are dependable, affordable, and, most importantly, available immediately. The government turns to revolvers. At the dawn of the 20th century, two names dominate the American revolver landscape: Colt and Smith & Wesson. Both manufacturers produce .38 caliber service revolvers trusted by police and military forces alike. In 1908, Colt unveils a modernized revolver known as the Army Special, chambered in the powerful .38 Special cartridge. It is sturdy, accurate, and well-balanced. By the late 1920s, police departments across the nation adopt the design. Recognizing this shift, Colt rebrands the revolver in 1927, giving it a new name that reflects its true customer base: the official police. The rebranding is deliberate. The U.S. Army has already committed to the .45 caliber semi-automatic pistol, but law enforcement agencies embrace the Colt revolver wholeheartedly. From Chicago to Los Angeles, from San Francisco to New York, the Colt official police becomes the visual shorthand for American policing. It is reliable, it is handsome, and by December of 1941, it sells for $28.50. That price is the problem. The official police is beautifully made. Its deep polished blue finish gleams under light. Walnut grips are carefully checkered. The trigger and hammer are smooth and refined. The 6-shot cylinder sits within Colt's proven medium frame, protected by the company's patented positive lock safety system. It is a premium firearm, The government wants it. The government cannot afford it. Not at that price. Not in the quantities required. And not when Colt's production lines are already overwhelmed with orders for M1911A1 pistols, machine guns, and other frontline weapons. The Defense Supplies Corporation does the math. 20,000 revolvers at $28.50 apiece is a non-starter. The answer is no. Colt responds with an alternative. Not a redesign. Not a new mechanism, but a reduction, an intentional stripping away of everything unnecessary. The proposal is a revolver that performs exactly the same, but costs less to produce. The price drops to roughly $26 per unit. The savings seem small on paper, but multiplied across thousands of guns, they matter. Over 20,000 revolvers. The government saves nearly $50,000. Money that can be redirected toward aircraft, ammunition, or fuel. This new revolver receives a fitting name: the Commando. Mechanically, the Commando is identical to the official police. The same frame. The same barrel length. The same 6 rounds of .38 special ammunition. The same internal action. Nothing about its function changes. Everything about its appearance does. The mirror-like blue finish disappears, replaced by a flat gray-green Parkerized coating. Parkerizing is a phosphate treatment that produces a dull, non-reflective surface resistant to corrosion. It offers no beauty, no shine, only durability. Light does not dance across it. It absorbs glare and resists rust. The elegant walnut grips are gone as well. In their place are molded plastic panels made from a material Colt calls Coltwood. The grips are reddish-brown, purely utilitarian. Over time, many of them will shrink slightly, leaving visible gaps against the metal frame, an unintended flaw that will later help collectors authenticate originals. Every decorative detail is eliminated. The trigger, hammer, and cylinder release lose their checkering. Polishing steps are removed from the manufacturing process. Anything that does not directly contribute to function is abandoned. The Commando is not attractive. It is not refined. It is not meant to be admired. It is meant to work. This revolver is a tool born of necessity, a wartime compromise designed to put a functional firearm into as many hands as possible, as quickly and cheaply as possible. In July 1942, the Defense Supplies Corporation signs a contract with Colt for 20,000 Commandos. Production begins almost immediately. By late 1942, the first revolvers leave the factory, their serial numbers starting at 1. Oversight soon transfers to the Springfield Ordnance District. Each revolver is inspected, approved, and marked with the flaming bomb insignia of the U.S. Army Ordnance Department, a symbol stamped on American military weapons for generations. Additional inspector marks appear on frames, including GHD for Brigadier General Guy H. Drew and WB for other officials. These stamps serve as silent witnesses to wartime quality control. Between early 1943 and mid-1944, the Army receives approximately 36,000 Commandos. Roughly 20,000 are delivered to the Defense Supplies Corporation and distributed to civilian guards protecting war industries. The remaining revolvers go elsewhere. Some are issued to military police units. Compact, dependable, and chambered in manageable ammunition, the Commando suits stateside patrol duties. Others find their way into Navy service. About 1,800 are assigned to naval air crews early in the war, carried by pilots flying long patrols over open ocean, resting in leather shoulder holsters beneath flight jackets. Additional revolvers are sent to the Maritime Commission, arming guards aboard merchant vessels, carrying vital supplies across submarine-infested waters. And then there are the intelligence services. The Office of Strategic Services, the wartime intelligence agency that will later evolve into the CIA, receives thousands of commandos. In total, roughly 12,800 revolvers are distributed among various intelligence and investigative branches. Many of these are special variants. Instead of the standard 4-inch barrel, some commandos are produced with shortened 2-inch barrels. The reduced length allows easier concealment beneath clothing. Intelligence operatives and criminal investigation division agents require weapons that can vanish under a jacket. These short-barreled revolvers become informally known as the Junior Commando. Only about 3,450 2-inch commandos are manufactured during the war, making them far rarer today than their standard counterparts. There are even accounts suggesting that General Dwight D. Eisenhower himself carried a commando while serving as Supreme Allied Commander in Europe. From his headquarters in London, planning the liberation of the continent, Eisenhower reportedly kept this plain revolver among his personal effects. It was not symbolic. It was practical. The commando rarely traveled to front lines, but its mission was no less critical. In 1942, Nazi Germany launches Operation Pastorius, a covert sabotage effort aimed directly at American industrial targets. 8 German agents, trained near Berlin, land on U.S. shores from submarines. Their intended targets include aluminum plants, rail systems, and critical water facilities. The operation collapses only because one of the saboteurs surrenders to the FBI and reveals the plot. The danger is real. Factories are targets. Rail yards are targets. Power stations are targets. The guards patrolling these facilities are not performing ceremonial duties. They are the final barrier protecting the machinery of war. In Michigan, a factory guard circles the perimeter of the Willow Run bomber plant with a commando on his belt. Inside, workers assemble B-24 Liberators at a staggering pace, 1 aircraft per hour. A single act of sabotage could halt production and delay aircraft needed thousands of miles away. In Pennsylvania, a railroad policeman watches over freight cars loaded with artillery shells destined for distant battlefields. In the American West, guards protect Manhattan Project facilities, the most closely guarded secret in human history, trusting their lives to simple revolvers costing less than $30. Colt continues production throughout the war. By August 1945, when Japan surrenders, approximately 50,000 commandos have been manufactured. Serial numbers reach just over 50,000 as the final revolvers leave the line. Then the war ends, and something unusual happens. Most military weapons return from war battered and worn. Rifles carried through jungles and cities show scars of combat. Pistols carried across continents bear the marks of use. The commando is different. Most of them never fire a shot in anger. They spend their lives holstered, inspected, cleaned, and carried through quiet shifts on American soil. When peace arrives, many are barely used. They are surplused, transferred to police departments, sold through government channels, or issued to National Guard units. The Alabama National Guard receives documented shipments and retains them for decades. This is why collectors value the commando today. It is a weapon designed for catastrophe that never fully arrived at its assigned gates. Many examples survive in extraordinary condition because their purpose, to deter and prevent, was fulfilled without violence. Today, original wartime commandos in excellent condition sell for hundreds to over $1,000, depending on markings and documentation. Revolvers with verified OSS provenance command significant premiums. Authentic 2-inch Junior Commandos are rarer still, as many short-barreled examples encountered today are post-war modifications rather than factory originals. The Parkerized finish, once viewed as crude, is now a badge of authenticity. Post-war Colt revolvers return to polished blue steel. Only the Commando wears the dull gray-green finish of wartime necessity. Even the flawed coldwood grips, prone to shrinkage, are now prized. Replacements lower value. Imperfection confirms history. After the war, Colt resumes commercial production of the official police, eventually reintroducing wooden grips in the 1950s. The Commando designation is never revived. It exists only because war demanded it. By the late 1960s, Colt exits the service revolver market altogether. Smith & Wesson dominates law enforcement sales. An era quietly ends, yet the Commando remains. Not as a symbol of battlefield heroism, but as proof of something equally important. Between 1940 and 1945, American factories produced nearly 300,000 aircraft, 89,000 tanks, millions of trucks, and tens of billions of rounds of ammunition. Those factories were as critical as any army. They were guarded by ordinary men carrying ordinary revolvers. 50,000 commandos, $28 each. No glory, no headlines, just quiet watchfulness. That is the legacy of the Colt Commando, not a warrior's weapon, but a guardian's tool, a sidearm that stood watch while others fought and died far away. A reminder that victory depends not only on battles won, but on disasters prevented. When a collector holds one today, feeling the weight of its matte steel, the revolver tells a story, not of combat, but of duty, of vigilance, of thousands of unnamed Americans who stood watch over the arsenal that won the war. The cheapest insurance policy in American history.